Hey everybody, this is artist Jason Sobel. On my Facebook page recently, I showed the first video that I posted on the new YouTube channel, and I immediately I got some responses from some folks. One of the questions I asked, and I'm going to keep asking, and I'm looking for input from you, the people on the YouTube servers, etc., who just want to see me draw something and kind of get some input from me. What I'd like to know is, who do you want me to draw, or color, or whatever? And what one of the responses I got pretty quickly was from someone asking me to draw the Flash from Earth 90. So welcome to the next installment of Jason Sobel Art's YouTube channel, and we are drawing Flash from Earth 90. Now, one of the things I love about Flash in general is just that, I love the big red outfit. I love the contrast between the red and the white and the yellow. They go well together, but still is very shocking and very direct. But what especially I love about the Flash from Earth 90 is, well, it's Barry Allen, which is super cool. If you are familiar with DC Comics continuity, Barry Allen was always a great Flash. Really fantastic character. What he did in the Crisis on Infinite Earths was huge in the comics. But, well, it was Flash in general was awesome in the comics. But I may have just blanked on whether or not Barry was the one who died or was Wally, and that is totally stupid on my part. I guess it's been a while. But what I love about the comic, or the TV version of Flash, the Earth 90 Flash, is that the reason why they called it Earth 90 is because that Flash came from the original TV show, the Flash from the 90s, and that was the Flash that I grew up with as far as TV goes. Back before comic book related TV was good, they did well, it was kind of cheesy, these cheesy versions of shows, and the Flash that we see in the Crisis on Infinite Earths from Warner Brothers is John Wesley Shipp, and he returned as the Flash, my Flash, the one I grew up with. So, similar to the last video I shot of Quill, what you see me doing is creating structure first in this particular piece. And once I start creating structure, I draw on every side a little bit just so I can make sure that things work. Then I can start going in and creating some values and really highlighting some things to make sure that they're more clear. And the idea is, I don't want to commit too much to any one thing until after I can just keep checking to make sure that it's really what I want, which takes a little bit of time, and some people just don't love spending that kind of time. So all in all, this piece took about 25 minutes to draw, and I'm pretty sure I sped it up for the sake of this video to about 14 and a half, almost 15 minutes. So it's not quite at double the speed, but it is sped up. And my process hasn't changed. I'm getting used to some things with YouTube. Like I'm realizing upon doing the sound over this that my video, even though originally in the shot I can see the whole picture on my camera, when it translates into the video editing, it's really cutting off that top 25%. So that's one of the things I need to work on, is making sure that I kind of crank that camera up so that I can lose the bottom but gain more at the top, which sounds counterproductive. But what that will do is it will cut off part of the top so that everyone will be able to see, as I'm filling up my composition, especially characters that have heads or whatever at the top will not get lost. So again, going back to technique a little bit, I like to fill out that whole thing. I like to round out the form, and then only then I'll go back in and start adding value. And I'm doing a lot of finger smudging in this. What I will probably do is I will probably do another pencil piece in the near future for YouTube, and I will use a smudge stick in order to do that blending, and we'll talk more about that. The smudge stick, which I'm not using here, but I will do one in the future, is also called a blender, also called a tortillon, and it's really just wrapped up paper. It's wrapped super tight, and it's kind of shaved down to a point usually, and it's super useful for getting really clean and really pointed blending, so you can get in like a pencil, but instead of drawing a line, you are blending and blurring. So that's what I tend to do a lot with my fingers whenever I'm working with a mechanical pencil. But whenever I'm going for more fine illustration, more classical illustration, then I'm definitely going to use not only a variety of types of pencils, from all from the H's all through the B's, and again I'll show you in the future something where I'm doing that, but then using the blender becomes really beneficial, especially when you're using a variety of pencils. Again, in this case, just using a mechanical pencil, HB lead, 0.5 or 0.5 millimeter. That is my standard. So yeah, getting in there, getting some darker details now, and really enjoying getting some value into the smirk, because he did have kind of an iconic smirk. Now, I mean, interestingly enough, that's really all you can get from him is the bottom part of his face and his eyes. So I think it's probably interesting as an actor to have to act more physically and be able to use limited facial expressions, because your part of your face is constantly covered. But again, for me, he was always Flash because of me watching the old TV show. I just remember him going around the track and burning up his clothes, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm kind of upset that I'm missing the top here a little bit. So I think at some point in the video I do recognize that I need to kind of crop the camera up a little bit. I'm hoping I did. I think I did. And then you'll be able to see more of the top of his head. So right now what you're getting is just my hand moving up there. And then I'm going in and getting his very iconic ear coverings with that are gold, or at least gold colored. And notice how I draw a line and it's a little choppy at first, and I go back in to re-emphasize it. I've got no fear, and that's the big thing that I want to impart upon you of drawing a line wrong. You draw a line wrong, if you draw it lightly the first time, then you can go back in with a more clear and definite line later. Like, see how I just draw those lines, and I go back and forth over it to get confidence and to remove any fear that I have of the line being inaccurate, because the more I can move around it, the more I get a feel for whether or not it's right. And if it's wrong, then I'll erase, and if it's right, then I will fix it up. And I tell my students that I teach them drawing skills, not erasing skills, but the reality is that if you're drawing, you are going to be erasing at some point, more than likely. It also just gets to be a point where even basic lines, you just get more confident with them faster, and you can just draw certain lines really dark because you just know for sure that you've got that right angle, you've got the right direction and everything just already kind of in your head and ready. Which, thankfully, that's an experiential thing, meaning that the more you draw, the better you'll get at it. So like similar to what I showed in my quill video, I did most of my shading on my left side first, and then I can go back over to my right. Why? Because I'm right-handed. So while I will occasionally go backward over to the left side of the drawing after I've been working on the right, I try to avoid that for the most part. And I sadly can't do it too much. just a little bit of ADD kicking in, so it's easy to go back over from side to side. But again, I like that because it gives me a feeling of constantly working on something new, as opposed to, oh goodness, I've got to stay on this side and get everything done here. As you know, that can be a little boring at times and a little frustrating to have to spend a long time on one specific area. But being able to jump around a lot, not only gives me a fresh perspective every time I hit something, but more importantly, it allows me to feel like it's not boring or draining yet. It's an interesting thing about trying to get the values around where the mask meets the face, especially over that nose, is that his mask, unlike the one for the Flash and the normal Flash in the TV show, it's made of a different material. It looks more velvety, and it definitely hugs his face differently. So it almost feels like it's like strapped onto his face as opposed to a mask that just sits on it. So that squeezes that nose down. You're going to get a darker line over that crease between the mask and the face. So normally, if I was trying to draw a more realistic rendering, I wouldn't go for that heavy line that I have right above that nose and over the cheeks. But that is, sadly, it's just the way that it's required for this particular version of the Flash. So notice I'm doing a little bit of hatching and then kind of a cross hatch just to get my values. So hatching is when you draw in one direction, and then cross hatching is when you go across it in a different direction. So I did a little bit of hatching, and then I went back into it with a slightly different direction, with a kind of a cross hatch, just to get the values to blend more. And then I can use my finger and I can smudge more as well, because I don't necessarily want all the value to be exactly the same. So we're getting closer to the end here as I start to draw some of the value, the lighter value in the rest of the suit. I know that shortly, so I'm going back and forth between the shoulder and the clavicle, which is the collarbone, and the top of the head here, and smudging and blurring. And I'm going to be working in a couple minutes on that logo in his chest, but just a little bit. I just have part of that logo in there. So I know I'm near completion. So as you watch my technique, if you have any questions about why I do something, how I do something, and again, I'm working with a number 2 mechanical pencil on a 9x12, 300-pound Strathmore drawing paper, a smooth drawing paper, not a textured one for this, because I knew I was, again, using straight pencil. And if you have any questions, again, on the technique, please ask. And if you have suggestions or questions on characters that you'd like to see me draw in the future, please make a note of that, drop it into the comments. And I do encourage you, you are, of course, more than welcome to check out my Facebook page, Jason Sobel Art. And, of course, you're more than welcome to check out my Instagram, which should be Jason Sobel Art as well. So, again, I really would love it if you would kind of chime in and just give me some input. So again, always encouraged. Actually, excuse me, my Instagram is just Jason Sobel. So just Jason Sobel, and you'll see a lovely picture of me. And there's tons of artwork there. A lot of that will be put into video at some point, because I have shot video of me coloring some of those pieces. But there's a lot of just step-by-step process stuff, as opposed to me talking about it, as it's really just a lot of pictures of the process. In any given color painting or drawing, there might be anywhere between 2 and 10 different updates. So again, Instagram, Jason Sobel. Facebook, you can look up Jason Sobel Art. The new website is almost done being developed, jasonsobelart.com. So numerous ways to hit me up, and just communicate. Let me know what you want to see. In the near future, I'm going to start having some of these drawings that you see me do kind of ready for download on the webpage, so that you can download a really cheap copy, like a low-res PDF, and then you can print it out and you can color along with me in a future version. So like for this one, for example, if I put up a PDF of this and then I do a color tutorial, you can color along with me or do something different. And then I want to have a spot on the website where I can have YouTube viewers color creations of my pieces, or even if I do a how to draw and then you copy it. You can go along with me. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one. And again, looking forward to your comments. Take care.